One night, Dale and Mo were at Mo's house trying to look for more clues and add up to what they have to, lead up to Mr. Jesse's murder. So that night, they were over at Mo's house, in Mo's room, talking when a strange man popped up at Mo's window, and she was very frightened and scared, and she had flashed him with her nightlight, and he had went away. But luckily, Miss Lana had came home as fast as she could, since Mo had called her and told her. But the night that Miss Lana came home, the Colonel, he had disappeared and left. So Mo was still scared about how the strange man popped up at her window. She was still scared, but Miss Lana was there to protect her and keep her safe. And she was also worried about how the Colonel just up and left. So after that, the next day, Miss Lana was at the coffee shop, and Mo wanted to reach out to her birth mother. She wanted to reach out to her birth mother. She wanted to talk to her. She wanted to know about her. And so she had asked Miss Lana if it was a good idea to ship notes in bottles in rivers and ship them off and see if she gets one right back. Because Mo's birth mother, Mo was born during a hurricane, and Mo's birth mother wanted to protect her, so she threw her in the water to protect her from the hurricane. And so Mo thought it was smart if she got sent over here from water, if she could, since she got sent over here by water, she thought she could send those bottles over there by water, like a little connection thing. So Miss Lana didn't really agree to it at first. Not that she didn't want Mo to know about her birth mother, but she just didn't know if it was a good idea. But she agreed to it. So every day, Mo would write letters to her birth mother and put them in a river and let them flow to see if she ever got one back. So one day, Mo was with Dale and Dale's older brother, Lavender, at a practice race where they actually test how fast his speed was. And Lavender's car actually broke down. Well, no. Lavender had gotten into a crash, and his car was bad and Lavender was injured very bad, and Dale's mother, Miss Rose, she was very unhappy about it. She didn't like the fact how he was racing to begin with. So she just wasn't very happy about the whole situation. But yeah, so Dale had tried to get Lavender to come stay with them, but Lavender didn't want to because of their alcoholic father, who was abusive, and he just didn't want to go home. He didn't live there anymore, so he didn't want to be there with the abusive and alcoholic father. So after that, Mo had went home, and when she went home, she found that Miss Lana was missing, and she also found out that she was kidnapped. Actually, she was kidnapped. So both of her caretakers were gone. She didn't know where they were. So Mo went and stayed at Dale's house with just his mother and Dale. And Miss Rose, Dale's mom, did everything she could to make Mo feel better. And so she put candy on tables. She played games with Mo and Dale to make Mo feel at home. But Hurricane Amy was actually coming slowly towards Tupelo Landing. And normally Miss Lana would throw a tornado party, but she wasn't there. So Mo wasn't just trying to solve the murder of Mr. Jesse. She also wanted to find Miss Lana, who was kidnapped, and her and Dale were looking for clues everywhere, not just for the kidnapping, but also for the murder at the same time. But she was mostly worried about Miss Lana because that was her caretaker. And she didn't get a call from the colonel in 2 days. And they have a little rule where you have to call in 3 days if you're out of town, if you're not in town with them, if you're gone, you have to call in 3 days. That was their rule. So he didn't call in 2 days. So she was just worried about that as well. So she had a lot of things on her shoulders. So Detective Starr was still trying to figure out what was happening with Miss Lana going missing, the colonel going missing, and Mr. Jesse's murder. They still didn't know who the killer was, but they were doing everything that they could. So one night, Mo, Dale, and Miss Rose which was Dale's mother. They were at Dale's house, just having fun, not doing anything too big, when Dale's alcoholic father burst through the door. He was loopy, he was drinking, and he was abusive at that. So Miss Rose had told him to leave when he had came in, and he actually pushed Miss Rose down, and then Dale and Mo attacked him. Mo had kicked him to his knees, and he had fell, and they tied him up, and Dale had his mother's shotgun, pointing it to his abusive alcoholic father. And normally Mr. Colonel, he would offer him something to eat to make him sober, and so Mo had asked him if he wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he said no. So Dale, he still had the shotgun pointed towards him, and his father had told him he wasn't going to do it. He wasn't capable of doing that. Then the Colonel had walked through the door and said, if Dale doesn't do it, then he will. So Mo was happy to see him, and he had kept his father, Dale's father, tied up, and he was actually looking for Miss Lana as well. So Mo and Dale actually found clues that that Miss Lana was at Mr. Jesse's house. So the Colonel was going to go over there to get Miss Lana, but Mo and Dale insisted on going. So they had went with him. When they had went there, they seen a man which the Colonel already knew, and the Colonel knew him from before. He had robbed a bank, and he was a criminal that they didn't catch, and his name was Slate, and he had actually kidnapped Miss Lana. And so Miss Lana, when Dale and Mo opened the door, they had attacked Slate, and to find out Miss Lana wasn't there. So then at that moment, Detective Starr had came in with Miss Lana, and Mo was extremely happy and gave Miss Lana a big, huge hug. And so Slate was arrested. He was also the killer of Mr. Jesse. He was arrested and put behind bars. And yeah. And they reopened the coffee shop weeks later. And they had everything had went back to normal after that. And Mo actually did get a letter sent back to her from her birth mother, but she wasn't really worried about it. She was just happy that she had a place to call home. And that's the end of my book. I hope you like this. And yeah. Bye.